Hey everybody, before we get started, I do have a small message from one of our fellow podcasters.
The year is 1888, and we find ourselves in the far-flung corner of the United States, called the Pacific Northwest, in the two small towns of Seattle and Ballard. Under rainy gray skies and among the giant old-growth pine forests, there are secrets hiding, invisible to most people, except for those with the second sight. Join us for a new actual play podcast called Spirits and Monsters of Old Seattle. My name is Brian Kershaw, and I'll be your host and game master for this trip into a supernatural Seattle, where my friends and I will be playing a role-playing game called Vossen. Our show is a mix of comedy and horror, and we would love for you to join us. You can find episodes at spiritsandmonsters.com, or follow and subscribe for new episodes every other Wednesday on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. We can't wait for you to join us.
So if you get a chance, give them a listen. Thank you very much, and back to our show. Hey everybody, welcome back to Big Campaign Stories. This is another Side Hustle episode. I'm Jeff, your humble narrator and GM, and I'm joined today by...
I'm Jesse Dukes, playing as Serge Kuznets, the archaeologist bard.
And I am Chris Bagg, and I am playing Olmus Rubra, the Artori fighter.
But before we take our wonderful guests from the Upper Middle Brow podcast on more adventure, let's start with some lightsaber checks. Chris?
This is 2d20, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We got a 6 and a 17 for a 23.
I'm going to roll them one at a time for drama. I don't see the first roll, though, because I have my character sheet up. Anyone else see the chat?
It is a 2.
Well, then there's no point in rolling the second one. unless you really want me to.
Nope, that is just fine.
Good to get those 2s out of the way. I was having a plague of them last time.
Yeah, listening to that episode as I'm editing, it's like, my God, these dice just hate Jesse. But yeah, do you want to give us the recap?
Well, we were on a mission from the casino owner and gangster named Sprite to deliver these 2 magical swords to his representatives at the summer festival in Farthen. But we learned that there were some assassins on our trail, one of whom we met and humanely dispatched of. And we also encountered some kind of strange illusion in the town of Nugget that led to both of us being coated unwittingly in blood, and then Serge stupidly going into the train station and announcing his bloody presence to the cops. Luckily getting away with that. Then we had a really, really beautiful train ride where we got in the habit, thanks to Olmus, of climbing to the top of the roof of the train to view the landscape, which was really gorgeous this time of year. And then one of those landscape viewings was rudely interrupted by, I believe, the Void assassin Sarm Delka, if I'm remembering correctly. And after a little bit of witty banter and back and forth, I believe we were about to come to blows.
I believe that pretty much covers it.
I don't know, Olmus, did I forget anything?
No, that sounds correct.
Fact-checking cuz.
Then yes, we begin this session atop a train with the sun behind you both. Psalm Delka looking onward as they draw their basin razor that glows with a arcane heat at the edge there as you're both up on top of the train as well. It's starting to slow down as it's going into a curve, but Psalm will... I don't get paid extra for taking you out. You hand over those swords now, we can call this easy done.
Olmus just kind of looks over at Sedge.
Smash.
Ah, excellent.
So the idea is that it's an invisible roofed train, and
yes, yeah, well, yeah, we'll say it is for class and style. It is an invisible roof train, so there are people below.
Ooh. Oh, awesome! It's like it's a train of observation decks. That's wonderful.
We're the entertainment for the evening. A little bit of combat.
But yeah, the wind whips around the leather kind of duster that Psalm is wearing. But Serge, you are the first to react.
Serge is going to start out by engaging as his standard action, as I understand it, into the Fire Competence Bardic song, which again takes the form of witty banter and occasional peppering of lizard folk language. So that will be the standard action, and then Serge is just gonna move himself behind his large friend and defer the initiative.
Okay. I'm gonna move on in. It looks like my move is 20, so I think I can get to. I think I can close to melee range. Is that correct?
Yeah.
I want to use my dirty trick, and Olmus is going to like swing one of his branch hands down and attempt to entangle this guy.
Yeah. So you'll roll a CMB.
There you go. It's a 15.
Yeah, with a 15, Delka will be able to get out of the way.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, with Jacket Aflutter, Psalm will ask you, since you're right here, Olmus.
Huh?
Do you have the swords on you, or?
He just asks me straight up.
Yeah.
I think the time for negotiating is past.
He's going to try to sense motive, basically get an impression of if you're using that to deflect or if you don't.
Okay.
But he can't seem to get the read, and so we'll end up just using his turn to balance himself and make an attack, slashing the razor across you with a 29 to hit.
Oh, God, that's probably going to hit.
You will take 4 points of physical, 5 points of fire damage.
Ooh, that's not good. Fire!
After slashing across you, Saul will stay where he's at. Serge.
Serge is going to attempt, and maybe you could give me a slight cheat on this, essentially wants to try to tumble past the assassin, basically using that disorienting maneuver in order to try to gain an advantage to set up an attack. I am trying to tumble past him, and then I will do an attack, but do I need to do a skill check on that tumble?
Correct.
Okay, so I'm going to roll an acrobatic.
So you got a 14, which will not be high enough to get by without provoking.
Ah.
You'll still move to where you're at, just they'll get a chance to swing at you, and with a 28,
Yeah.
and they'll do 8 physical and 2 fire.
Okay, so that takes me down to 10. 26. Yuck. Ow. But I will go ahead and attack with the dueling cane. Looks like a 22.
Nice. Yeah, you will strike Psalm across the back.
Looks like 4 damage. Yep.
Okay.
Your move, Olmus. A little help would be nice. I don't like fighting.
Olmus, who is the appearance of fire is definitely unsettling him to some degree, and we're not gonna fuck around anymore, and we're just gonna go after with the Olmus smash for a 28.
Absolutely wails into him.
Okay, that is 5 damage. Big to hit roll, bad damage roll.
Yeah, Psalm here will look back at Serge and will ask the same question. As he gets hit by your cane, turns around, do you have the swords? Before he gets hit with the almost a smash.
As my grandmother always used to say, there's only one way to find out.
Psalm will step back away from Olmus after getting hit and will attempt a shove maneuver.
I've been reading the shove rules when it's not my turn.
Oh no.
He'll say, I guess we will find out. If you have the swords, well, I'll have to come collect them. But he will go to push and get a 13 versus your CMD, which I believe will miss, Serge.
CMD is 16.
Perfect. Yep. He does not land the hit.
Not that way you won't find out.
It is your turn, Serge. As you're standing there, looking down, you can see the people kind of eating, looking up, watching you guys move across the top.
Serge is going to actually this time do the bardic inspiration that he should have done the first time, which is inspire courage.
Okay, +2 to hit and damage.
It's only 1. You get 2. You go up to 2 at 5th level with a +1, and then with that he's going to withdraw.
I have a way of getting you out of the way if you want to. If that would help.
Yes, all yours, Olmus.
I'm going to move in and I am going to use Friendly Switch, and I would like to step into the space where Surge is. Then he ends up in the space that I just left.
Oh, okay.
And now I am going to attempt to. Does that take my action, or is that a?
So that's part of your move action with that feat.
Okay, that's what.
So that was well played. So yeah, you still have your standard. It's going to be a CMB versus his CMD. Matching it pushes him back 5 feet. For each 5, you push him back another 5.
Nice. Jesse, did I get a bonus on this from what you gave me?
You have a +1.
Oh, God damn it. It's 15 again.
Yeah, he quickly ducks out of the way as your fancy footwork attempts to send him flying and move Surge across the roof of this train.
Surge, just stay behind me. I mean, not now. Don't get behind me now. That would be bad.
My grandmother always used to say, best leadership is from behind.
Oh, mysterious D100s? That's... Jeff rolls for tunnel.
Yeah, a set of branches will pass overhead, but nowhere near being dangerous.
Okay.
As the train continues around this corner, heading towards the mountains. But yeah, Psalm will 5 foot back away from Surge as not to get easily surrounded again, and will slash at Ulmus with the superheated razor.
Oh my God. People roll 32s in this game? What the heck?
No limit.
And he will score a critical hit.
Okay.
So this will do 12 points of physical and 4 points of fire.
Okay.
I think I am going to cast Sound Burst. It has a 10-foot radius spread, so I want to do basically where I can get him and not Ulmus. So I think about right there is about right. And then I'm going to do a movement after that.
Perfect. So yeah, they are going to roll a fort save, and then that fort save will let us know if they take full damage or not.
Yep.
So they got a 9, which is not good because they will get hit with the damage, and they will be stunned for 1 round.
I would say that is good.
Being stunned in Pathfinder is especially bad. You would get no actions, and you drop whatever you're holding. So his razor will land on the roof here of the train and begin starting that slow slide away. But it means pretty much he does not have his dexterity. He only has his armor to his ability to defend himself this coming turn.
So, and I still have my movement, right?
Correct.
So can I move close enough to kick the razor off the train and then back off?
Yeah. He watches it flies off into the underbrush.
I hope that was helpful, Ulmus.
And Ulmus is gonna shove. And I believe because he's stunned, I get a +4 to this now.
Correct.
Yeah, so CMB +4. There we go. That is a 27.
And he was a very dexterous fellow, as was his fighting style. But being stunned means he loses all of his dexterity as well. So you will beat it by 10. And being stunned means he doesn't get to take reactive action, so he doesn't get the check to grab onto the edge of the train.
Yes.
So across cracked glass, after taking a stump of a foot to the chest.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I kick him. I don't branch him. I sort of pick up like a root and just kind of plant it in his chest, and
he quickly goes flying off the side of the train, spiraling out into the wilderness. There's a large crack in this ceiling now because there was a sound burst across, but it is thick enough. It probably couldn't take another one of those, but there's a noticeable crack there.
Ulmus, I like the audible crack. Ulmus, I suggest we retire to our quarters and get cleaned up.
Yes, that was more strenuous than I anticipated. Are we going to fight more? Like, where's that? The razor's gone, right?
The razor is gone.
Well,
I think that we may have been a little bit lucky with that first assassin in the last city.
I think you're right. That was not above our pay grade, but kind of right at our pay grade, it feels like.
You know what my grandmother says about luck?
What?
How did she put it? Luck is like a warm day in December. Enjoy it when it comes, but don't count on it.
Warm days in December are odd because your sap starts running. It's a very confusing thing. but I think I see what you're saying.
Humans enjoy warm days in December because it means that our metabolisms don't have to work so hard to provide warmth, and thus we're more comfortable and happy. But I believe that, you find the notion of maple syrup offensive?
Do you find the concept of vampires offensive?
Not offensive, just very creepy.
There you go.
Well put. I suggest we descend to the quarters and get cleaned up.
Maybe we should do so with some discretion.
I agree. Although the glass roof with the giant crack on it and the people staring at us from below might render that useless. However, if any of the train staff have a complaint, just let me do the talking as usual.
Perfect.
And we will make our way back to the quarters, sort of smiling sheepishly at the staff, but then also sort of miming like successful pro wrestling, giving pro wrestler like after match to the train passengers, as though we were the entertainment and that we're quite proud of having triumphed.
Perfect. Then the rest of the trip will go by fairly uneventfully.
Will we have the chance to rest and regain spells and hit points?
Correct. 2 full days to rest before you will be pulling into the station.
I should be able to cast Cure Light Wound 14 times. Do you want me to roll 14 times, or do you want me to assume that's enough for
No, because you're going to do a D8 plus 4. So if I imagine 14 times 5, you're cheering at least 70 worth of damage. I don't think you guys have that. If you roll a 1 14 times in a row. I'm not saying you can't. But...
Hey, if anybody can do it. All right, thank you. So, I heal both of us then with my cure, with multiple applications of a weak spell. But fortunately, sometimes there's, you know what, listeners, sometimes a slow train is the best kind of train, and this is one of those times.
Sedge, how many more of those assassins? Is it 2 that we might have to face?
Your math has been improving. I think you can figure this out on your own. 4 minus 1 minus 1.
You did the ones in series, not together. Now I understand. 2.
Yes, very good.
Excellent.
Very good. Your math is very much improving. Speaking of which, that reminds Serge to check his phone to see if the behemoths have eaten any more airships.
Yes, you'll see they have taken down 2 more.
Ooh, so I think we're up to 7 now, if I'm remembering correctly. I don't remember what the bet was, though.
I don't either.
It was so long ago, and we've had to fight so many assassins since then, I can't remember. Why don't we just call it even?
2 assassins. Fine.
Correct, 2 assassins. Your math is as sharp as ever. By the way, Almas, you keep referring to me as Sedge, which is interesting. That name is familiar in a strange way, as though I've met a Sedge before in a dream or a distant memory.
I might have met him in a dream, too. That sometimes happens with... That happens sometimes when I'm around other trees. I sense what they're thinking about. Maybe now I'm sensing you.
Is that one of those fungal network effects?
Yes, it's just like a mushroom.
I see. Well, that solves that mystery. On to the next one.
With less decomposing happening.
Well, hopefully. So far.
The train will pull into the Farthen station here at the head of the Farthen Valley. As you go to get off the train, one of the employees here will approach and, Mr. Kosniatz?
Yes?
Thank you for your time here with us, and they will hand you an envelope.
We'll open the envelope.
All right. Yeah, the employee will walk away as you see it is a bill for 3,500 credits for a ceiling replacement.
I'll put it in my backpack and make a mental note to hand it to Sprite's assistant when the time comes.
But go ahead and give me both your perceptions as you step off the train.
I got an 8.
Very again. 13.
As soon as you both step off into the crowd of people, you can hear all the chatter, other trains taking off and leaving. You look about here and you will notice and spot there is a large lizard folk. Some brass knuckles on. Looks like they've got some kind of put together armor, but they've got a couple goons with them as they're holding a couple pictures, looking around at people as they're passing.
I will sort of Oche this time, say to Olmus, lizard folk, large, 2 o'clock. Let's see if we can duck the other direction and sort of lead the way in a direction that I hope will take us out of sight of the goons and the lizard folk in a way that's hopefully subtle and also kind of following a plausible, crowd direction, as opposed to being the only two people walking that way.
Absolutely. Go ahead and give me your stealth.
18.
22.
So you can see them at the north entrance. The escalator is coming down from the train station that would go down to the cabs and kind of ride area.
Is there an exit to the south?
There is, and there's an exit across. Imagine this whole area is crowded with people coming off the train right now.
I'm thinking, though, with those columns, that it might be more stealthy to make our way to the southern exit.
If my 18 is good enough, I would like to impersonate a tree right here and give Serge some cover to move off to the south before I follow him.
Well, amongst the crowd, your 18 is good enough that the lizard folk does not seem to see you as they're looking about me. There's other Artori getting off the train, so it's not that odd. You're not a lone Artori out here.
Right.
But these two do not seem to see you or Serge, which Serge with your, was it 22 on stealth? Yeah, you're definitely ahead of them.
So I'm gathering that Olmus wants me to keep walking as though I'm exiting alone. Can I sense motive on my own companion? Is that because I'm trying to figure out what his plan is without, or am I close enough that I can mumble at him? What's the plan?
I'm just trying to give you some. There's some other trees in this atrium, and with the other Artori, I thought that might give us some extra cover to slip away.
Is your plan to slip away, or are you trying to ambush him?
I think we're trying to slip away, aren't we?
That's what I thought. Okay, so Serge will continue stealthily working his way to the southern exit. If he gets there, he'll go outside and then try to find a place where he can watch the doors with cover and wait for Olmus to follow.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Using the crowd as cover and moving through them, you're both able to work yourselves down to the south exit as you'll pass through the automated doors that open up into the pleasant farthen air. You can see the big banner for the summer festival that has been hung here, looking out over the city. The Farthen Valley, the city is built between two different mountain ranges. You can see the almost always perpetual autumn that fills the valley below, and when the wind blows, parts of the leaves seem to change back into spring or summer greens. In other parts, in the shadows of larger trees, you can see snow and the naked branches of winter survival. In the middle of this anachronistic valley, there's a large rounded tower, and like how sometimes you'd see a double rainbow, you can see there's an echo of a tower that looks different from the one that you see here. But people of all sorts walk the streets in summer attire. Kind of think those summer in like those Colorado towns.
Like a dry, crisp summer.
Mm-hmm.
Like almost kind of like shakes his branches a little bit, and it's not far from here to Artori. It's just to the north, Serge, and it feels like home here.
Is Artori this beautiful?
It's not far from here. It's a little cooler because the mountain range keeps some of the northern air trapped there. But it is nice and dry and crisp like this.
Maybe next spring break, if our financial circumstances permit, we can take a visit with some of your family. I would enjoy that.
I would too. There are many of them.
Did you say there's a forest?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And go ahead and give me one last stealth check from both of you.
Serge's stealth is 13, maybe because he's daydreaming about spring break in Artori.
Artori.
So as you're both out here looking at the city, I'm not sure if you're planning on grabbing the bus or grabbing a cab, but you will have that moment as Serge, as you're talking, thinking about future plans, feeling confident you're here. You look back inside and you can see there is an Illican that is holding up a picture as they kind of like move the picture to the side, and there's you kind of looking, and they will do the whole like point, and we'll have a couple goons start to chase.
How close is this Illican?
They're inside. Actually, funny enough, your previous stealth checks, they're the ones who rolled the 11, so they didn't see you guys as they were guarding the south exit. So they're still well inside, but it's not until kind of having this moment here that they're able to stop and notice like there's an Artori and a guy standing out there.
So we're in sort of a plaza, is that right? And there's
You're outside, like
we just exited these doors. Is that right?
Yeah.
I think we're gonna run, and Serge is gonna look for a alley or street that would give us a chance to possibly lose them, or looks like it might have other twisting passages. Basically, we're looking for urban streetscapes that might provide more cover. I'm gonna just say to almost spotted, and then Jeff above table. Does Serge see a kind of likely alley to run into, or a likely street that seems like it might give cover to others?
There definitely would be alleys to go down. So what we'll do is the acrobatics of the goons to see if they can push past the people fast enough to get out here before you guys disappear into one of these alleys.
Serge is also planning, in addition to his move, but I guess what's the word for going twice your normal movement?
It's just a double move.
Well, maybe let's keep it a single move, and he would like to cast Hobble on the goons. I think he can hit 4 of them, assuming that no 2 of them are more than 20 feet apart.
As opposed to them getting their full acrobatics to do this, with them hobbled, losing half their speed, they're going to take this at a penalty. They will both get a fortitude save as you try to knock that out at level 1, so it should be a DC 15. So you'll cast, one of them will just loses all momentum and speed, so goes his balance, as this goon will just collapse into a pile of people, but the other one will still be able to keep running, having passed the check. So go ahead and give me whether you guys would like to do a stealth or a bluff, or however you're imagining you're getting into a place where you can hide or get away.
In this alley that we're sort of aiming for, does it look like there's anything like a fire escape or anything that heads up the sides of the buildings?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to grab Serge in one of my branches and start clambering up the fire escape. And
Okay.
I sort of deposit him on my back as I am moving up that direction.
Perfect. Then go ahead and give me your climb.
Oh, that's a 1. That's a 1. It's a 10, but it's a 1.
It's a 10. You're not going to fail at ladder climbing.
Okay.
But what this more is that, so the guy pushes past his friend who has been magically slowed as Serge jumps on your back and you go to ascend. And what it is that when you pull on that, it just makes the loudest metal clang as it slams into the ground. It doesn't stop you from starting to climb it, but it just immediately tells them
Where we are.
yeah, there's a tree climbing that building.
And is it like the thing where I've actually, I was going to grab the ladder to climb on it, but just pulled it down to me. So we made no progress and I'm still standing on the ground.
It's very much that jump and grab, and then it just pulls with you.
Great.
Serge is going to assess. He's rather acrobatic, and he's going to assess whether it would make sense to jump off Almus's back onto the first tier.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that was an 8. Those are 2 and 8.
Double 1s.
Amazing.
Oh my goodness. Oh goodness. So we've got 1 goon. Is the Illican
Who
following?
needs goons in this case? Who needs opponents, really?
So yes, impressively, with the clang of the fire escape, Serge, you're not able to make any progress as you shoot. I have to imagine if you were on Almus's back, that would be you reaching out to grab onto the ladder from there, so you can hopefully get that start climb.
Yeah.
But with that other one, with that pulling it down,
that ladder is sliding. He accurately jumps onto the ladder only to have it slide down to the ground. Gain absolutely no advantage whatsoever.
And it sort of shakes. It shakes Serge a little lower. So he's kind of he's hanging. He's just got his arms wrapped around Almus's waist. Can we cue that Benny Hill music?
Impressive. Yes, the goon holding up their HCOM, drawing a gun. Well, they're out here. I found them.
How far away is the goon?
Since this is only 1 move, they're about 30 feet away. So we will 2 things here. Move this to the outside and
Ooh, I like this map. It's a cool map.
Jeff, there is something Serge would like to try if there is an opportunity to try something while there's just one goon.
Oh God, I love these goons. Okay.
They're Matrix goons.
Yep, that's great.
Basically, he wants to try casting Desperate Boredom, or whatever the boredom spell is, while there is just one of them. I'm imagining that the visual or the verbal component is you and I having a conversation about the urban history of this particular alley. And oppressive boredom will negate, and basically he would stop pursuing us would be the goal, and stop directing his friends to pursuing us out of oppressive boredom.
Your spell goes off without a hitch as you see him, as he pulls the phone up to his ear and kind of looks at it and who cares?
Yes.
Maybe we should just try sprinting to the end of the alley instead of climbing. Is the end of the alley within a double movement? Like, can we get around a corner in a double movement turn?
Yeah, basically this will buy you another set of stealth checks for when the next goon comes out and they try to look. I can hear you.
Is it 25?
11. Oh my God. I mean that's better than average, or that's average, right? But this is like the stealthiest guy in the continent.
You rolled another 1. That's why.
Excellent. So, with another 1, as you both take off down the alleyway, Olmus rounds the corner right as there's a group of people moving a whole bunch of like tall potted plants, and is able to disappear into the next street here without a problem.
Oh, hello, everybody.
Yeah. Serge is our guy who just runs into the lady who spills her groceries. There's, the oranges scatter across the ground. The milk bottle hits. And hey, what the hell are you doing?
Sorry, miss.
Serge, what is wrong with you today?
As just enough that you can look back and see the Illican has made eye contact with you again, staring in your direction, Serge, as they seem to be moving that way, leaving the goon there, contemplating, why do we even have phones?
I don't know. I mean, almost you want to keep running? Now we're down to 1. Maybe we can take him.
Oh, yeah, we can take him. Let's do this.
Serge will cast Hobble on the Illican before he approaches within combat.
As the lady's still yelling at you, like, what the hell are you doing? As you turn around and cast Hobble on the Illican, they will attempt to resist it. As you see, as they're moving, they're drawing their pistol, and with a 19, they will resist and will take a shot. Ooh. Surge, with a 24, the pistol will graze you for 6 points of damage.
Yep.
And then let's get them initiatives.
I got a 6.
13. Didn't realize. I thought we were in a beautiful autumn afternoon as opposed to like a gritty cyberpunk midnight.
No, it's beautiful right outside the train station, Jesse. This is like a classic trick, right? It's the opposite of New York City.
Yeah.
Port Authority.
The casting of the Desperate Boredom is actually sort of Cliff Flavin. Actually, it's a trick of the Port Authority to make the beautification just outside of the train station for the sake of enticing visitors to spend their tourism dollars.
To actually leave the train station once they've realized where they got to. All right. Is he going to shoot at us again?
Yep. People are starting to scatter. The lady who's yelling at you about the groceries as the bullet whizzes by will say fuck it and move away. The guys nearby here will drop their potted plants and start to scatter.
Sorry, big guy.
As the Illican will take only a single move to slow down and take aim. Where are the swords, Kosniets? 24 will graze you again for 6 points of damage.
Let's see. I've got something for that. Let's see. I could use in harm's way.
So you can use your in harm's way if you want to swap spots and take the 6.
Yes, that
for
will.
Surge. Okay.
Yep.
And Surge, it is your turn as Olmus moves you aside and takes the bullet for you.
So I did not take the additional. Does he take the damage? Or is
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
That's literally what I'm here for.
The rogue talent, convincing lie. Do you happen to know, would that be a bonus action?
Part of your dialogue, so I'd probably use a standard action to dedicate like a full bluff to them.
Okay, I'm gonna hold off on that then. I guess then actually Serge is actually gonna just fire his pistol and then take cover behind that taxi. 15.
Yeah, 15. You'll see it'll graze their armor, but does not seem to slow them down.
Serge is gonna run basically here in order to try to create some cover
Excellent.
between him and the gun-happy Illican.
All right. Yeah, you can see their tendrils tucked up and above. They've got kind of a tiger stripe pattern to their grayish-green skin, wearing a very nice-fitting delivery outfit.
Is it possible that a knowledge check would be a bonus action in my turn, trying to set up a no weakness feat?
Yeah, go ahead and give me a knowledge local.
That's a 15.
This is definitely a paid hit person. This is probably Larm Laron. But that 15 puts you that the delivery outfit is fresh. Looks odd in that sense, right? Looks like this is their first time wearing it out. Almost.
I am also going to run up next to Serge because we are better next to each other, and I'm going to shoot my reprise Yeti stopper at this guy. 13.
Yeah, the thunk of the crossbow as it embeds itself in the wall of a local fruit and bean coffee shop.
Somewhere over here. Yeah.
But it will miss. Larm will try to call out and, boys, I'll buy you a nice drink. Just put down the bag. We'll call it good.
These guys.
Is he pausing? Is he pausing the combat in order to try this negotiation? Like, could I respond with a bluff?
You can definitely respond with a bluff. They're using their standard action for this, but they are drawing their stun baton with their other hand. And you can see the cackle of electricity as they turn it on.
I'm going to try a convincing lie and say, we left the bag and the swords in a locker in the train station. B-17, and you're welcome to them if you leave us alone and promise not to hurt us.
Oh, you think I'm going to fall for that? Go ahead and give me your bluff.
All right. It's not that I think you're not clever, it's that I'm scared you're going to shoot me. That bluff was a 27.
All right. Versus their 11 on sense motive, you'll see them put away the gun and go for their HCOM. But it's your turn, Serge.
Unfortunately, attacking would ruin the bluff. So I'm going to do some inspiration. We are going to inspire courage +1 competence bonus on attack and weapon damage rolls.
Cool.
Are we running or fighting now?
Let's see what he does with that HCOM, I guess.
On my turn, I'll at least just kind of saunter around the taxi. So I'm just sort of, I kind of lean up against the taxi here. Not threatening, just hanging.
Laron, they'll pull out their HCOM and make a call. Let's give our boy from before, who's really bored. He has not passed his save yet.
He's still bored.
It's a really boring story.
So for a moment there, Laron hits ring, and Goon 1 looks down. They're calling again. Why? It's just... And clicks send to voicemail.
I love the movie version of this, like we just cut to the alley.
But Laron will then reach out to the other goon, and you'll hear from the distance you're out of. They said they left in B-17. Go check it out. I've got eyes on both of them.
The deal was you were going to leave us alone if we told you where it was.
They'll look back and stun baton in one hand, arm up with the other, and I gotta see if it's there. I mean, I'm not gonna stop you if you're gonna leave, but if it's not there, next time I'm not giving you the chance.
I see. So he's not attacking at the moment?
Correct.
Serge will wink at Ollis and then cast that sound blast spell right behind Larm.
Larm will roll their fortitude save to resist the sound explosion that goes off as car alarms and nearby start. Beep, beep, beep. But you see Larm just looks annoyed. They're going to take partial damage. They're not stunned, though. So go ahead and roll the D8 for damage.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. That's the pattern. Serge will try weakly, like, what the hell was that?
Yeah, it's like
somebody shooting at us.
It just sounds like a window breaking.
They're definitely going to try to play it off as though we had nothing to do with that explosion. You know, he was behind the car. Once again, I don't know if you want to roll a bluff, but he's going to attempt to bluff as though that was not an aggressive hostile action.
I would say in this case, with it being both verbal and somatic, means that there's a clear mode of you popping out from behind a taxi and doing finger guns and saying like, boom. And when it didn't work, you're like, that could have been anyone.
Almost back to plan A. Smash.
Yeah, almost is already because I know I can't get there. I'm gonna shoot the Yeti and then close as much as I can. That's a little better. 21 to hit.
Oh, excellent. Yeah. The crossbow bolt, see, it slices across their delivery outfit.
For 9 piercing.
Yeah, they'll throw down their HCOM, drawing their gun as they step forward and swing at you with their stun baton.
Okay.
With a 22 to hit.
Yeah, that'll beat my 19.
All right, they will do 8 physical and 1 electric.
Electric. Ooh.
Trees are pretty poor conducors, right? Good insulators.
Is that what we want in this particular case? I don't think that's
so.
what we want. What? Well, I want it out. I don't want it trapped within.
But yeah, as Lorm hits you with the stun baton, come on, Olmus. You're not paid enough to die for this. Just give it up. I promise. A bottle of whiskey we can all share. But it's your turn, Serge. Let's roll for our boy back at the front. As he looks down at his phone and goes, you know what? I will take that next call.
This green sign to directly north of him, is there, if Serge were to run and try to set up another cover position so that he had a shot that would not have Almus in the way with his pistol, is there any cover over there? I can see there's some objects and sort of near that green sign.
Yeah, absolutely. There's those classic kind of like patio tables that you can kind of stand at and have a coffee kind of thing. You can definitely knock one of those down or get behind one of the electric maps.
All right, so he's gonna do a double movement to that position.
All right, Olmus.
Yeah, we are smashing. That is a 23 to hit for 12 damage. My God.
Brutal. Olmus comes down with a righteous and furious vengeance, slamming into Larm as they'll have to stagger for a moment. The delivery outfit does not seem to soak as much of that blow as it should have.
Let's see. Whenever you deal non-lethal damage with a melee weapon, you can make an intimidate check to demoralize your target as a free action. We're going to try that. That's a 20 to demoralize.
Perfect. They are demoralized. They have a -2 to basically everything they do. Saves, attack rolls for 1 round. Unless I think yours might extend it further if it beat.
The target is shaken for a number of rounds equal to the damage dealt.
Oh,
2 minutes. No, not 2 minutes. A minute and 12 seconds.
Yeah, they have 11 rounds of, oh, jeepers, wow, that's scary. So I should probably say shaken for the rest of their life.
Yep.
Yeah, Larm, how do you look right now, Olmus?
Angry. Angry. There's there's a little shock of electricity dancing along his branches. And he's kind of in he's full on like monster from Frankenstein mode.
Larm is going to attempt to backflip away from you and take a shot. They're going to roll their acrobatics versus your CMD, and if they pass, you don't get to attack. So with a 10, that won't do. So as they go to flip, you get a free attack on them.
Okay, I will take it. I'm trying to think if I want to do the damage or try to get him to stay here. He's already kind of staying here. Yeah, I'm just going to take the free attack. I think that is what we are doing here. That is a 27 to hit for 9 more damage. Courage! This is what happens when Jesse casts that spell on Olmus.
They get slapped around hard. You've hit them down for 20 damage, and with their hand shaking, try to put a bullet in you as it goes wide, bouncing off the taxi behind you. Serge.
I guess Serge is just going to fire his pistol.
Okay.
From his position of cover. That is a 20 to hit.
Absolutely.
6 damage. And if he has a chance to say something, he'll say, Larm, if you back off now, I won't tell my friend to rip you limb to limb.
Larm, shaken and worried, will attempt to sense motive to see if you're lying or not, but they can't tell.
I guess you could, if you want, that would be a diplomacy. I am sort of attempting to, or maybe it's more of a bluff.
I guess it depends. Olmus, are you ripping them limb from limb?
Oh yeah. I I approach and we keep going. Let's.
And I should say, for the record, that was a sincere offer. If he runs away, I will call Holmes off. My motive is sincere, although it perhaps arguably is a bit of a bluff too.
24 to hit for another 11 damage. This is the best night of my life.
Your massive paw slams into the side of Larm Laron's head, bringing them bouncing across the concrete.
Larm, have you ever had your arm ripped off? I've seen it. It's not pleasant.
Shocked onlookers watch as Larm does not get up, passed out on the ground here. You hear the distant sounds of sirens.
Almost grab his phone and let's take this alley to the north at double speed.
I quickly rummage him, grab the phone, quick pass for anything else interesting. If there's anything in there, I stuff it in a knot hole, and then cruise on after Surge.
Alrighty.
So we'll try to maybe go double speed for 2 or 3 blocks to try to make sure that we're nowhere near the police. And if we feel like we've gotten away from the police, Serge will take a look at the phone to see if there's any interesting information, whether we can get on the screen and see his texting history.
You'll see a few Hedron vehicles pass by with the Farthen Enforcers logo upon the side of them as they zip past you on the streets, as you are all quite a ways away now, looking at Larm's phone. You'll see the last few texts here are confirming, yes, we got here, no, we haven't seen him yet, but these go back a couple days, they've been here a bit. And you see check-ins over the last couple days of, we're at the train station, they haven't pulled in yet, we're still waiting. There's one more coming from Pauldron. They should be on, unless they got off somewhere else.
So Serge will try then texting, just interrogated train conductor. Apparently 2 people fitting their description jumped off the train 1 day ago. And then he'll tear the battery out, he'll hand the phone to Olmus and say, smash.
He does. Where to now?
I believe that our friend Harvo Salam recommended a air hostel or a floating bed and breakfast or something of some such. I believe he texted us a place like that the last time we communicated. So we will use the navigate feature on our phone to find that place and seek rest. And if I remember correctly, the festival is starting tomorrow.
Correct. Right. You can see people putting up the flower baskets off lights, big banners going up, groups of people that are generally dressed each in season attire. There's a summer friend, a fall friend, a winter friend kind of thing, as those themes and patterns play out here. But you'll get to the bed and breakfast that Parvo had recommended, and you're supposed to get to the Perennial Favorites restaurant.
Oh, that's right. I don't know, Olmus. It's been a rough night. Maybe we should just order takeout in.
I think the sooner that we hand these swords off, the better. This has been the longer we wait, the more chances they have to find us.
As I recall, that we cannot hand them off until the festival begins.
Well, then, yes, let's sleep.
You do recall that humans do sometimes need to eat food, though.
Yes.
Serge will inquire at the front desk about whether the Perennial Favorites will deliver to the bed and breakfast.
The look on their face is one of those oh, you're not from here, kind of for that question. They're like, oh, Perennial Favorites? No, they're a high-end restaurant at the Nexus Wineries. If you're looking for something close, there's a Gravity Euros across the street or a Ba Humburger down the road.
Will the Ba Humburger deliver in? I've heard a lot about Ba Humburgers, and I've always wanted to try one.
They're close enough they deliver. They'll say, my favorite's always the barbecue sauce calzone.
So yeah, we'll call the Ba Humburger, and I'll order a barbecue sauce calzone for Olmus and a double cheeseburger for Serge. And if they have any squid candy, I'll ask for them to send some squid candy and have it delivered to the front desk. And then we'll take to our rooms and clean up our wounds while we're waiting for the Ba Humburgers. How's that barbecue sauce calzone?
What is this?
It's delicious human cuisine, according to the front desk.
It's neither water nor light.
Oh, but it does have carbohydrates in it. Aren't you mostly carbohydrates? Barbecue sauce is something like 78% sugar. In fact, I believe I detect the scent of maple syrup in this particular sauce.
That's not convincing me to eat it. Look, if I picked up your hamburger and said, "This smells like blood,"
Actually, I like a rare hamburger.
I don't know if I can.
As long as it's cattle blood.
Almost takes a bite.
It is both everything you expect it to be, but also confusingly moist and crunchy.
Ugh.
But it has that right manufactured kind of fast food taste that after you take a bite, it's absolutely disgusting, but your mouth then says, another bite wouldn't hurt.
Yeah, like almost eats the calzone over the course of the next 5 hours. Like it just kind of and is just sort of like considering it like it's a science experiment. He's doing research.
You definitely find it's probably tastier cold than it is warm, as the sauce stops being so liquidy.
While this is happening, Serge is going to cast Cure Light Wounds on himself one time. It looks like he got 6, so he's 100%. I've got 3 more of those.
I could probably use, well, if we're going to sleep tonight, then I wouldn't. I'm not horribly banged up, but I'm not sure if 2. Well, let's try 2 and see what happens.
And here's the first one. That's 10.
10.
Do you need another one?
I'm almost there. Well, if we sleep, I'll be full.
Then let's go to sleep. I'll see if I can find another hydrogen fall conflict episode to watch or something like that on the local television.
You'll be awoken in the night by how bright it is kind of outside. When you look out there, you can see that over the valley, as though there's reflections, you can see that there's about 4 moons that are cutting across the sky, though some lower than others, some at different phases, some waxing, some waning. But as each one kind of goes away, there's a brief flash of daylight that kind of goes with it, as though multiple days are kind of ending and beginning in this night.
Is this normal on this planet?
It's not common to see this anywhere else, but the Farthen Valley is unique in its placement and temporal glitches and planar shards that kind of all coalesce here. Kind of lend to that of eventually all 4 skies line up with descending moons that start you guys off the next day to a warm summer day.
This feels marvelous.
Yeah, the valley no longer in those orange and reds of autumn, but now in a more summer stance, so lots of bright greens, lots of colors. Though when the wind blows through, you still see when the branches move, they occasionally shift back into autumn colors before going back to summer.
Serge, seeing the green, will say to Almus, how do Artorians feel in the fall?
It is a bittersweet feeling. I think not unlike the rest of you. Winter is not unpleasant, but, well, sometimes when you wake up, you say that you don't remember. It's like you just went to sleep. It's like no time had passed. Winter can be like that. It's kind of an absence of time.
That is very much like the humans experience it. What about the fall colors? We find them quite beautiful, but also sad, since we know that in a few weeks the leaves will be bare and the weather will be cold and our metabolisms will have to work extra hard, or we'll have to carry heavy layers of clothing just to be comfortable.
One nice thing about our race is that change and sort of real change is constant. Yeah, the rest of you seem to be fairly set in your appearances, but when you're changing every few months, it's pleasant. And the fall colors are, though they aren't the feast of summertime, pleasant to look at.
You know, my lizard folk grandfather used to sing an old lizard folk song, and one of the lines was, they say that old trees just grow stronger, and old rivers grow wilder every day. But old people just grow older.
That's certainly true.
Serge is contemplating this as we head out to the festival.
Walking out into the streets, the front desk person here, the halfling would, "Happy Summer Festival!" and point at various kind of cookies and baked goods that they have out. Each one decorated for the appropriate season.
And a happy summer festival to you. What do you which of these do you recommend for a summer's day?
In halfling generosity, they'll say, "I like to take all 4 and then push them together."
Well, when in Farthen, Serge will say, and then pick up 4 of them, smush them together, and then take a nice big bite.
It is, a lot of biscuits. So there's crumbs everywhere, but it's good. Exiting out on the streets, festival is starting, right? People are out talking, enjoying themselves, having coffees. You'll pass by a bus stop where you'll see two clerics arguing. A small knick-knack shop has tourists out there taking a picture with some stuffed planar creature called the Devourer from space as they're posing underneath it in scared looks.
Let's head that direction and call him on the way.
Sure. Well, we'll make our way to Perennial Favorites, and we will give Parvo Solemn a call.
It's good as you do, because as he describes how to get there, you'll realize you'll probably have to get a cab to move about the city a little bit easier. But the cab will move towards the rich end of the city, and even to the richer end of that neighborhood. You'll see the winery up above on the hillside, looking over the valley. You'll see the winery gate with heavily armed guards outside of it. But they will check, based on Parvo's word, that there's an illness +1 on the sheet.
Did you see that? It's my name this time. You're the +1.
And what number does that add up to?
Well, a name plus a number, almost like is just lost in thought. Like he's just like he can't really. He's struggling with this concept.
Serge will mutter to the gate guard. He'll figure it out in a minute. Lead the way.
But they will begin leading you up the path towards the winery. Parvo over the phone. I have to admit, I'm fairly impressed. You made it here and in time. Consider your debts cleared for the time being, Serge.
That's great news.
This was over the phone?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Thank you. We're very glad to hear that. In fact, honestly, almost, I sometimes think that we might be better adventurers and delivery boys than academics.
But, I mean, that's sort of a dead-end job, adventurer.
Good point. Perhaps we can find a way to supplement our academic income in the future.
I mean, I think we just did.
And perhaps we'll do it again. And if we're still on the phone with Parvo, we'll say, in fact, we had some challenges, but on the whole, we got some lovely views. And my friend had a really delicious calzone. So if Sprite wishes to contract with us again, we would certainly take the phone call.
Good. Well, Sprite will be happy to hear that, as you'll be meeting them shortly.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
Perfect.
Once the vehicle parks at the top here, you've noticed that over the trip up this driveway to the winery, summer festival banners have been slowly replaced with happy birthday banners. And you pull into one of those parking lots that every vehicle here, is above your price range that you'll accomplish in a mortal lifetime.
We're going to Erewhon in LA.
Parvo will come out. You'll see 6'4", tall, ex-military Corlean male, dressed in a very nice suit. Say, put out a hand, and glad to see that you were able to take care of this. We were very worried.
We were somewhat worried ourselves, but so far things have worked out.
Follow me this way. Sprite would like to speak with you, and you have the blades with you?
Absolutely.
They're with me.
Parvo will lead you back to kind of what are those changing rooms they have for like brides at wineries?
It's like a green room kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where Sprite's there. You can see Sprite is a Dosh model. So a taller android, about 6'2", 6'3". Their entire chassis is done with purple and black accents with various kind of gold stars painted into them to give them kind of mysterious starscape look across their body. They're wearing a shawl that glitters with technology as it seems to be playing a music video on the circuitry.
Whoa.
Wow.
Look over, seeing you both, and well done. May I see them? Sprite will pull out their own briefcase that is very ornate, fancy, kind of opens it up. You can see there's like the felt spaces where both blades would go.
Yeah, almost reaches into a knot hole, and it sort of pulls out like the wrapped up blades that we kind of wrapped up in some cloth and unfolds it.
While this is happening, and Serge stealthily sense motive, just making sure the intention is to have an honest transaction and not some kind of double cross or sneaky activity.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so I'm finding that. That was a 22.
You don't feel any betrayal coming from Sprite. Though you can definitely tell Sprite seems to have a lot more going on. But yeah, they'll look at the blades as you pull them out of the knot hole, and absolutely gorgeous. Amazing.
Mr. Sprite, is it somebody's birthday today?
Why, yes, it is.
Whose birthday is it?
Vincilian Crow, the owner of Dalam Crow. It's the 63rd.
Huh. Is he a friend or acquaintance of yours?
Oh, I'd probably say more acquaintance, but I imagine after this will be friend. He's often expressed his want for ancient Rethi artifacts, and, well, he just thinks they're neat.
Terrific. I think they're quite neat too. Serge is gonna search his history knowledge for something smart to say about the artifacts, and I can give you a check. Something sort of companionable and smart. He is an archaeologist and a scholar, after all.
Absolutely. Go ahead and give me a history.
Yeah, that would be a 21.
Yeah, so with a 21, you're able to point out to Sprite, actually, each house only has one weapon. The Arferi house had two, because during their civil war, during the Zorain era, they were forced to make a second one because they weren't able to retrieve their original one. Sprite would seem very interested. Like, there's definitely a practiced behavior of, you probably could have told him, like, I burnt my toast, and he'd still respond with that, like, genuine interest.
Almost looks up at Sprite and says, wait, you needed these today? Like we just today?
Yes.
And he just looks over at Serge and is just like,
There'll be a knock at the door before Parvo would go to open it, and Parvo would stop. Oh, Mr. Crow. Vancilian Crow would enter. 63 years old, darker skin, wearing a very nice but comfy looking suit. All of it kind of lighter colors, like definitely clashes a bit with Sprite's aesthetic. As Vancilian will, Sprite, I'm getting bored of Ark and the rest of them. What are you doing? Who are these people? And he'll look over at you two. If they're going to stay, get them outfits. And in a very dismissive gesture, Vancilian will look at Parvo and go get them outfits. As he'll, absolutely, sir, and we'll head out.
Outfits.
Once more, Serge would like to sense motive on... I'm sorry, remind me of the name of the new person, the birthday person.
Vancilian Crow.
Vancilian Crow, that name's familiar. So would like to do a sense motive on Vancilian. That was a 22 suddenly. Again, we're finding the right side of the die all of a sudden.
Perfect, yeah. The impression you get from Vancilian is that they're not only used to being listened to, it's also their birthday, so they're a little bit worse, worse than they would. But they seem to be maybe abrasive, but respectful in that business-like scenario, right?
I see. Are these fellas continuing to have a conversation, or are we in sort of an awkward silence? Because if necessary, Serge can pull out some more sword knowledge to fill the space.
Yeah, you're definitely in that awkward place a little bit as Vancilian is taking up the doorway. Parvo's had to squeeze past to go get some items. Sprite is now turning around, and I'm very sorry, sir. I was going to give this to you at the main festival in front of everyone, but why not? It's your birthday, right? And you're damn right it is. Parvo will sneak back in as they both step over towards the table and they set the briefcase down. Parvo will have two suits, professional-looking attire made of suncloth and whatnot, and if you are going to stay for food, you will have to change into something less adventure-y.
I'll look at Almus and sort of raise my eyebrows to sort of see if Almus is as intrigued as Serge is by the prospect of hanging out with the rich people for the afternoon.
Oh, certainly, yes. It's going to take some doing to get into that suit.
Serge will grab his suit, and as he's grabbing it, he will very deftly hand Parvo the bill that was presented by the train company, and then sort of whisper very casually, "Oh, I forgot to give you this earlier," and take the suit, and then withdraw to... and is there an obvious place to change?
Parvo looks down at this receipt and kind of, what the fuck did you do? As Vancilian and Sprite are both holding these swords up in the air and looking them over as Vancilian just looks ecstatic, a child, right? They have gotten a gift that nobody else can have. Vancilian will turn around and look at both of you, and you've done a great job. And you seem to know a lot about these swords and houses.
Well, it is something that I studied at university.
There are 9 houses in total, correct?
Yes.
Well, you might have 8 more jobs.
Sprite has our numbers. That was really fun, Jeff.
That was so fun. Thanks.
Yeah.
That was a blast. Thank you for running.
Thanks so much for playing. Where can people find you?
You can find our show, Upper Middle Brow, at uppermiddlebrow.com, and we have some social media properties. So on Twitter at Upper Middle Pod. Mm-hmm. You can find me on Twitter at Curious Dukes. Where else, Chris Bagg?
You can find the podcast on Instagram at upper_middle_brow. And you can also find me on Instagram at Christopher Bagg and on Twitter at Chris Bagg.
And I will also say I am personally on Blue Sky at Curious Dukes, and even though Blue Sky has very low volume in use, it is terrific. If you can remember what Twitter was like 10 years ago, before terrible things happened and it was purchased by a cranky billionaire, and other bad things that happened prior to that. That's what it's like, except for it will never, I believe it's a nonprofit, so it should probably never take that terrible trajectory. So I think we should all hang out on Blue Sky. And you can find me there at Curious Dukes, as I said. I have a website, jessedukes.com, which is professional if you need somebody to help edit or produce a podcast or edit some writing. And Chris Bagg has one at
chrisbag.com. And if you're interested in fun game stuff, you can always go to backyardadventure.games.
And this is not the least of it. If you want to run a race as a triathlete or a long distance runner or something like that, Chris Bagg is your man to coach you or to help you recover from a nagging injury, which is actually something he's helping me do right now. That was a lot.
A lot of credits.
Yeah, roll credits. Thanks for listening. Like, rate, review, subscribe. You know all the stuff. It really helps us out. Our intro and outro are from Nihilore, Forest for the Trees. You also heard Escape, Facticity, as well as Kings of the Surf, Summer Sport Rock. Sound effects, as always, are from Pixabay. Alright, thanks, bye!